Turn the camera around. There we go. All right, follow me out this way. Come on along. So we're set up outside. We've got a few things already in place, like corner guards to block the hoses from moving around. We definitely have got some dirty carpet on our entry area. Got a seal-a-door set up in this area that keeps that really cold Colorado air outside because it actually was snowing. There's some ice on the ground out there. Keep in mind is today's setup when I'm talking to you about this is a cold climate setup for us. We're set up to operate in really cold sub-freezing temperatures. So our pressure line has already been brought inside. I'll review that with you in a minute. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. This is our Kong, as we have named Kong, our CDS direct drive unit that is in a Gorilla style truck. This direct drive unit runs off the van's engine. It is one of Hydromaster's signature machines. I've been around a long time. Learned a little bit about its history myself yesterday. And this, again, runs off the powerhouse of the Chevy van and is a direct drive system that is operating between the seats. And we've got a housing, fiberglass housing that's over top of that unit there. The unit operates by just turning on a switch, engaging the system. It turns on pretty quick and simple. Before I start making noise, though, with the system, just talk about some of the things we'll have prepped for. Most of the carpet we're cleaning today is nylon. It is fairly dirty, so we might choose different rinsing solutions or emulsifiers that we can actually push through our metering system by siphoning it into the chemical injection system on the unit. For today, we're using clear water rinse. That's our typical go-to for our business. We tend to clean using this acid neutralizing conditioning rinse. It has got an encapsulant in it that helps for wicking problems and other issues that end up developing in post-cleaning techniques and heavy soiled situations. But this product mixes up in a 5-gallon container. We usually fill this, which we've already done. This product then fills. Always use a measuring cup. That's what it looks like if you're curious. Put that in the measuring cup, fill your water tank up first, and then apply your cleaning solution. Once you've got the solution or the tank filled up, fill it into the container after your container has been filled with water. You want to fill with water first, otherwise all of your cleaning solution has the potential to evacuate and bubble during that agitation of the fill. All right, so we've got the machine set up. We've got it in our high heat mode, which means that we've got the temperature set on max that controls the flow of the antifreeze from the engine up into the primary heating system, which on this unit is the heat exchanger just between the seats back into here, this area here. This also has a salsa, which is a secondary heating system on top of that. So we've got it set up. This is our vacuum recovery line. We've got the vacuum recovery line feeding through actually two 2-inch lines into a large filter with a good basket for recovery and filter system. And then we're running through on our systems. We tend to use these locking cuffs. They work really nicely to give us a good fit and lock in place without pulling apart, and they have a little sleeve that slides over to keep them in place. So that's our recovery system that we already have set up. Now, on this van, we do have a fresh water tank that we've had custom made and a vac reel that we've put up here, as well as our hose reel for convenient storage. The accessories on this give us some options to be able to go and have lots of exterior storage on the unit. And for mixing our products and solutions. And then we've got an upright area for our wand storage for all our different tools, pressure tools. We're able to do pressure cleaning with a light pressure gun and wash stuff off, especially after muddy situations happen. And then we've got huge storage capacity in the back of the van to be able to haul lots of equipment and tools. Extra drying equipment, restoration equipment. We do have 2 water tanks we run. We've got about 120 gallons of water we keep in. And then we've got our rug tubes, our areas for storing long tube rugs or large storage, as well as high storage for things like air movers. Oh, I'll let you see that again. Stackable. We've got the Air Max units. We can fit as many as 12 in this little capacity. We've actually got some out making money right now. But that's our large storage on the Gorilla Box unit. These come out of PCS, out of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and great units. It is naked. Kong still needs a wrap. All right. So once we're ready to start cleaning, and cold, it is cold out here, believe it or not. Once we're ready to start cleaning, and the van has been running and heating already, so we've already got heat inside here. The last thing we want to do when we're ready to start is bring our water line outside. We don't want any of our cold lines sitting out here in freezing on us. So it tends to be when we're ready to go, we'll leave our pressure hoses inside until we're just ready to start. Bring the pressure hose from the warm area, connect it to the machine, turn it on, and be ready to start cleaning, which we probably should just go ahead and start doing. So I'm going to grab my pressure line, which we've already got set here, ready and positioned to go out to the line, and we're going to hook that up to the truck mount. Connects to the pressure output on the front, where we have two actually. If we are running two at the same time, we could use that. Turn the machine on. We're going to go ahead and run on high mode for maximum vacuum. Pump clutch, fresh water supply from our tank into the machine. It pumps water from our tank over to the input. Get our pump on. We set our water pressure. Now today we're going to start off by cleaning some residential carpet. So I typically clean residential carpet between 350 and 400 PSI, pounds per square inch. So I'm going to set my water pressure by adjusting the pressure gauge. I've already set my metering on my chemistry to actually prime and make sure product was flowing through. So I'm running the meter to bring product in at about 2 gallons per hour that it gets pulled out of this and injected into this line. All right. Now to keep that cold air out and the warm air in, we've got one of these tools. This is actually made by Ron Hunkins. It's called a Sealador. He's had a few different styles of them. Great tool. And it's got a little pass-through door. It actually has a zipper on it. Pretty neat. All right. So we're going to start off with some residential carpeting. We're going to switch cameras over here in just a second. So we'll end up over in this space. So first thing I wanted to talk to you about is kind of a what we might call a normal carpet situation. I don't know if we can call it normal, you know, what we would determine as normal carpet that we're dealing with, but this is a pretty nice residential product. It's a newer PET high definition polyester product that Shaw has had out called Bellera for a while. And as you can see, we've been driving in on it in our workstation here in the shop to give it some pretty abusive soils, snow melt, road grime, and things that have been coming in. Heck, even this, we have the blade line from my snow plow where we had the plow plug part, our four-wheeler parked in here to bring some rust into the picture a little bit. What I wanted to do is kind of go through the basic steps of cleaning if I was to do a residential carpet cleaning job. The first step, I already illustrated and talked to you about it, pre-vacuuming. You got to pre-vacuum these carpets. The first step in pre-vacuuming is to choose the best vacuum for the job you're about to do. And there's a ton of vacuum choices on the market. I'll have Mario pan over here and we'll take a look at a few of those vacuum options that you might look at. Watch your camera. All right, we've got a few different vacuums that I've brought out today to talk about. Starting from what you might not have seen in a long time, a pile brush. A pile brush would be used for heavy abrasive soils, maybe even the muddy soils that we saw over on the carpet that I was just dealing with. We could run a pile lifter, a tool like this in a commercial situation in most cases. However, this guy, when I was apprenticed by my uncle 30 years ago, this was the tool that I was forced to run on every residential carpet job. Because the theory was, if better was possible, good isn't enough. And we ended up having this out on every job. Now, it wasn't a phenomenal vacuum, but it did a great job at lifting the nap, correcting the pile, combing the yarns, flipping the soil so we could recover them much more readily from the surface. A pile lifter like this runs on a single large cylindrical brush. It is still utilized and available in markets today. A lot of rug cleaners will get them for conditioning their pile of their yarns or softening carpets after they've done with their final cleanings. And nap correction can sometimes be attained by using a single dry brush like this. But when you run a tool like this, man, these things, when they vacuum, this guy pulls forward and then you pull it backwards. It's so hard. And you basically comb the yarns and lift them. Very effective on commercial bank entries, schools that have a lot of ice melt, lots of sand built up from the exterior. This is a great tool to consider as a part of that process. Is a good, strong pile lifter. Now, not everybody's going to put one of those on their truck. Certainly most residential carpet cleaners don't end up putting that in their arsenal, but many of you are looking to invest, and I get this question a lot in classes. Which vacuum should I use? Which upright is going to be the best choice? Or should I be using a backpack perhaps? You know, a backpack for the surface soils, which in commercial light surface maintenance, getting that top appearance soil off, often this is the fastest production tool to use. But it doesn't all, unless you add the added mechanical beater bar, you're just using airflow. So we keep one of those on our trucks often for upholstery, surface vacuuming, wall vacuuming, dusting, those kinds of services that we do. Now, next to that in the middle here, I've got 3 different vacuums, and they're actually pretty similar in general performance and what they do. This is a Versamatic made by Windsor, now Karcher Industries. It's one of the important features we like about it. It's got an adjustable height for the beater bar where you can adjust its impact. It's easy to service out the brush line that's in there. Change the bags out. We do like bag filters for us. We can leave these bags that are left. We can leave the bags behind, give us a little better filtration capture. Especially in today's age where we're being really conscious about pollution and cross pollution and things getting into the air. It's a good idea to use a higher efficiency vacuum system. One of the team favorites right now, and I've been going through varieties of vacuums over the years. One of the things I've looked for is, you know, how strong is that wheel, that drive shaft on the back? This got my attention for a few years ago, and it's been sitting here in my handle graveyard. It does get used in the shop quite a bit. I think it currently needs a bag. One thing to check for, I know so many carpet cleaners that have grabbed a vacuum out of their truck or another technician that was using it, and they didn't actually just inspect it first to make sure the last guy put a new bag in it, that the last guy that used it wiped it down when he was done, cleaned the hair and all the grime that was stuck on the bottom of the vacuum prior to its use. You know, we commonly, for our customers, we'll even take that time to clean up the bottom of the vacuum and service it and wipe it down for our customers. Talk to them about their vacuum, do an inspection with the customer so that they know that you care about the long term of their home. And vacuuming is removing that insoluble soil. That insoluble soil makes almost 80% of the soil that we're trying to remove from carpeting. Good filtration. This is a Pro Team product. I liked this one, and I still do for performance. And it's got a big wheel, which makes it really easy to move around, floats on the floor nicely. Has been a great tool. We did replace it. We've moved on to the newer Pro Team unit. They make, this guy is a little quieter system. It's pretty, you can turn your brushes on or off. If you don't want brushes for like wool carpeting, and where you don't want to cause extra fiber distortion or anything coming off, then we would turn the brushes off. If you want the brushes on, you can go to the other side. Proper vacuuming, you know, certainly needs to be a quicker pass forward, a slow pass on the return. Quick pass forward, slow pass on the return. Try not to overextend your arm and your back. Just work with it. Rock and dance with the vacuum back and forth over top of the surface, working away from your plug towards wider areas, continuing to embrace a larger service area. A good quality vacuum, in my opinion, I like ones with bags. They've got higher filtration bags available. Adjustable or automated beater bar brush settings will make a huge difference in the overall performance of the tools that we bring onto our trucks. So every one of our cleaning rigs, our vans, has got a commercial level vacuum. You know, I had a customer say to something to me the other day. We were at her house. He said, yeah, I'm sure my housekeeper's going to come in and they're going to show up with a Hoover. That's exactly what she said. Her mindset was that the vacuum the cleaner showed up with was starting the stage, and she expected that it wasn't as quality of a vacuum that a professional flooring specialist or cleaner restorer would have. And we showed up at this home with our nice fancy backpacks and clean lines and gloves and masks and booties and all the things that we would do. And it set us apart from her housekeeper's vacuuming. We are professional cleaners. And part of that step is to choose professional tools. So let's go over and take a look at the effects of vacuuming on some of this abusive soil. It's on this particular carpet. Lots of soil. We haven't vacuumed this in a while. It's been sitting here being driven on in the shop for some time. I swept it the other day. Yeah, I actually swept the carpet. It had so much abusive sand on there. I figured it, and you can hear it. And if you drag it a little slower, you can hear as it gets up into that vacuum brush and up into the bags that's drawn up inside. Give that tool some time to work. You have heavier soils, slow down. Give it some time to run over top of that dirt. Get those particulates up. We could take easily on a job, I don't know, on a standard home, it typically takes us a technician between a half an hour and maybe an hour or more just to vacuum the flooring. Because we're not going to start there. We're also going to grab, have a good vacuum, hopefully with some accessory tool ability to be able to get those edges around the perimeter, maybe pull the vents, vacuum those, wipe them down, do those details that the other guys don't. And that pre-setting, that pre-vacuum work that you do sets the stage for everything else. The guy that comes in to do the pre-vacuuming on the job is typically going to put the furniture on sliders, get everything positioned in the room to be able to go area to area and get the vacuuming done, position and set up the first room to make it ready. Like the master bedroom is usually where we'll start a job. On a residential carpet cleaning job, we'll start in the master. We'll move the nightstands nicely out of the way, pull them out of the way carefully, vacuum underneath those nightstands, those areas, and get all that soil, the dusty stuff that people are breathing when they're sleeping in their home, that breathing zone area around their bed, and we get to those edges. And then once we've done the edges and we've detailed around the perimeter and perhaps underneath the bed, then we'll get that nightstand, clean the area, put it back, and we put it back on blocks or tabs. We typically use sticky tabs for our process, and that keeps the furniture tabbed up afterwards. I like to do my tabbing before. All right, so here we have sticky tabs. These are little perforated rolls of tape, and what we'll do is pre-tab all of the furniture. So now our knees don't get wet as we're working on the project. And then they actually just stick to the bottom of the furniture legs like this. The other option, if you have heavier furniture, if you don't have something that's pre-perforated like these guys, see, we can now just pick that furniture up with these legs pre-tabbed on the bottom of them. And the furniture tab stays right there. So we can set it to another area, put it back into the service area, and not have to get to that tougher spot. Like with blocks, if we're using furniture blocks, when we're moving our furniture back around, little snap blocks, it's a little more awkward to get that block right in the right spot and get that last one in the back area, which there's all sorts of little lift tools to do that with. This size furniture makes sense just to be able to use a tab or plastic. Some guys use aluminum foil, but you do need to do something to protect that furniture from your surface that you're about to clean. All right, so now that we've kind of prepped and thought the room through, and we've dealt with our pre-vacuuming, step one, it's time for step two of cleaning. Step two of cleaning is soil suspension. We generally do that with chemistry. For us, in the HydroMaster team, HydroMaster has a ton of cleaning solutions available. These are all preconditioners or additives that we commonly will use in our science of cleaning, depending on the soil that we're going after and we're dealing with in the environment. In this environment, we've got a few different carpets here. We have some standard residential grade nylon, happens to be a nylon filament. I've burn tested this to know exactly what it is. It is a tufted product. Next to it, we've got a little surprise product. This one is actually called Florigami. This is a product that comes out of Shaw. They are actual tiles, carpet tiles and planks. And so these are all small planks that I've put down. We would want to be conscious to know the construction we're dealing with. We wouldn't want to use aggressive rotary systems, which could cause edges or over wetting to get underneath this. This construction, we'd want to stick to a surface wand cleaning or a lower moisture system so we don't get any moisture down underneath these tiles. So lower your pressure on your portable or truck mount, and certainly avoid using rotary extractions on this one. And then the last one I've already mentioned to you is the product of the bigger source that we have here. And that's this Bisaillon product with kind of our cheetah pattern or zebra pattern that's been put into the pile. Okay, so since we know we have pretty heavy soils and pretty resistant carpets, I don't have any wool down on the floor here. Heck, even the area rug that we've got over here on position, this is just a polypropylene olefin machine-made piece, nothing particularly investment level. The biggest risk on a rug like this is that it'll probably wrinkle on you when you clean it because of differential expansion of the backing yarns. But all of these fabrics can handle pretty much any one of the pre-sprays that I'm going to show you. Tons of different traffic lane products, starting from something that we tend to use the most, which is a pH of 10 product. So it's stain resistant compliant, for not hurting fluorochemistry and some of the dyes and the acid dye resistors. We use Fast Break HD. Fast Break is a high concentrate. A gallon of this product at dilution can go as far as 65 gallons out of one. So 1 gallon, pH of 10, with a diluted use for residential cleaner carpeting or cleaner commercial carpeting that's being maintained with extraction systems. Fast Break HD is an ultimate choice for being able to go through those. Next down the line, I have Polybreak. Polybreak is an amazing product. This product here is actually specifically designed for our newer fibers, like olefins, oil-loving characteristics, triexta, polyesters, things where pH isn't as important from stain resistance standpoint of the fiber. However, this one has a pH of 11 to 11.5. It mixes up dilution ratios on HydroMaster products are right on their labels. So they give you a little quick code of telling you which product dilution and what it's going to be, how it's going to be used and what its pH is. So Polybreak, great product for, again, the triextas, the new filament, Bisaillon, any of those that you need something that's holding, if it's holding on to oil a little bit more to help you cut through that, Polybreak's phenomenal. Another favorite for apartment industry, cleaning and heavy soiled commercial has been Quake and Quake HD over the years. Again, a high pH cleaning product, super bang for trashed out carpets in a liquid form has been a favorite for many, and they won't leave it behind. I got a few of my guys, this is one of their first, they have a trashed out apartment. This has been what they've been traditionally going to. Now, fortunately, HydroMaster is on the edge. They're continuing to bring new products out all the time. And in their light, one of the things that they've done is they've introduced some phenomenal products into the marketplace. Things like Blitz with Grease Breaker, bombs and missiles. I mean, this is a powdered product. You mix it up. It's a powdered product, got a nice citrusy smell. This product you'll mix up into hot water into your inline pressure sprayer, used for restaurants, trashed out commercial, dormitories, carpet where it's just abused and you don't have stain resistant concerns. Max Stream, new product on the market. This product has a pH of 12. Phenomenal performance for trashed out restaurants. Some people start to get, you know, they want a certain smell or certain performance, more oxidizers, more of certain kinds of chemistries in them. HydroMaster has answered the call with tons of options for you to choose from. Soil Break for restaurants, enzymatic base to go after those trashed out food environments where you have heavy tracking from the kitchen. A great product for a preconditioner to put down and allow it to sit, give it about 20 minutes after scrubbing, and then go through and do your extraction process. You can certainly enhance most any of these pre-sprays as well with a boosting grease breaker. This will help break that greasy oil traffic from parking lots or heavier soil spills that might be more oily related. Grease breaker is a great booster to be able to put in. Now, when it comes to mixing pre-sprays, use measuring cups, wear gloves, potentially wear goggles if you're going to be splashing things in your eyes, but use some tools to mix the things properly. They work best in the dilution ratios that the manufacturer designed them in. Far too many people just start glugging product in, and the products don't have, the water doesn't have the capacity to allow the product to perform. It won't work. It's actually going to end up leaving residues that can't hold into suspension during the cleaning process. So, we tend to keep a separate sprayer jug on our trucks, and what that does is it gives us the ability to mix up different kinds of pre-sprays for different kinds of cleaning situations. The majority of my company's jobs tends to be owner-occupied, stain-resistant carpeting, that we tend to do a lot of repeat clients for that need, and so we don't often have to go as often into the heavier arsenal of the higher pHs and the stronger chemistry, unless those scenarios present themselves, like when we do the dorms or our apartment complexes. So we tend to use fast break as our mainstay. Another one of the team favorites has been Blitz over the years. It's a great additive for that greasier soil, heavier traffic that's there for mixing up. And the way we mix that, we've got our pre-spray. Water has already been added in there as hot solution. This product is recommended to mix approximately 10 ounces 10 ounces per inline sprayer. And heck, actually, because we have such aggressive soils, we're going to go right up into Max Stream. We'll use Max Stream today. It's similar chemistry as Blitz, but we've got some pretty trashed out carpet there. So we'll go ahead and we'll use Max Stream today. And we're going to take our measuring scoop, put that right into our cleaning solution that's already got water, hot water in the container. If you put the hot water in afterwards, again, it'll bubble all out and you'll lose all of your detergency out of the solution. Mix that up. And then we'll go ahead and hook that up to our water system. Just go ahead and stage the camera there, pointing that way, and get the CRB ready. Thanks. All right, so our first step, because we're going to be using a hot water extraction system, is we're just going to go ahead and use the line from our machine that we've already attached, and we have the water system already hooked up. Attach the pressure line to the quick disconnect of the inline sprayer, where it's going to meter through this little DEMA valve, creating a venturi. As it goes across this area, it will draw product up into the tube and to self-dilute it for us up into the solution. So I'm going to apply it. Now, when I apply pre-spray, say in an average bedroom, I don't saturate pre-spray everywhere. As a matter of fact, I don't want to spray pre-spray so heavily that it sends all that soil down. I want to keep the soil up on the top of the fiber. And if a lot of cleaners start pre-spraying with 1,000 PSI, it's way too much. We need to lightly mist our traffic lane cleaners over the areas where we need them and put a little bit more to suspend the soils. And generally, if you can make them disappear lightly on the surface, you've got enough. I see too many guys just blasting it down into the ground, just sending cleaner through the backing systems of these carpets. All right, so we're going to pre-spray the area. That's our chemistry portion of suspension. The second step after we pre-treat is going to be to agitate. Turn my line off, release the pressure. Go ahead and take the vacuum out there. Disconnect the pressure line. Now this line is ready to start extracting with my next tool. What we're going to use to agitate today is a CRB, a counter rotating brush machine. This machine allows me to power scrub. And another option for you might just be to use a standard grooming tool like a Grande groomer or a brush. Now, before I had a CRB on every truck, this was definitely the best option we have, because it has the most physical contact with the carpet surfaces that we would agitate while working that into the fibers by manually doing that. These can also be used for post grooming after cleaning. But because we've got mechanical tools to do it for us, we're going to go ahead and use this guy. And it's just floating on the surface as it agitates and works that pile, works that preconditioner right into the surface of these heavily soiled yarns. Now, for purposes of this workshop, I'm just going to stay in the center of this area with the wand for what I just treated, because in a minute, I'm going to step off past a maintenance extraction system, and we're going to talk about rotary extractors. All right. So once we get some good, strong agitation in and work that chemistry that we feel would be a great soil break, get that soil broken down well. Generally, my heavy traffic areas, even with a little scrub, I like to give them 5 to 10 minutes of time to be able to work and dwell. And while we think about that, it's time for the first chemical giveaway. Doyle, I'd like you to choose one of our participants if you could. We'd like to give away some product, and I'd like you to give away some Blitz. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and give away a container of Blitz, and we would like to give that to attendee number 37. Attendee 37. You got number 37, Doyle, there? Is anybody in the room?
Yes, we are.
We want to give away some product. Let's give away some Blitz, some traffic lane cleaner.
37 is Nathaniel Davis.
All right.
Davis.
Turn that volume up again. All right, we've got a winner of our first product, a container of Blitz. Doyle just announced. That's awesome. We're giving some dwell time as well. While we give that, I'll talk a little bit more about proper technique and use of your CRB. These CRBs come in these little trays. They're actually very important. It keeps your brushes from going flat. So when you're not using the machine, after you've done your evacuation or your soil suspension, put it back on the tray. It'll keep any drip or drool caught there. It will also help you in keeping those brushes from flattening out. Because when the brushes get flat, the machine hops all over the place, and then you got to recondition it. Okay, so we've given a little dwell time. We scrubbed it in. We had good chemistry. We applied our traffic lane cleaner with a hot treatment of hot solution within hot injection from the truck mount. We have agitated, so C, H, agitation. We gave it a little time. Now it's time to go ahead and do some extraction. We're going to use the Evolution wand, one of our team favorites here. The Evolution wand, 1.5 inch tube. This tool here, if you haven't used them or played with these before, have a hydrofoil design that allow that air to capture up into here without cavitating, having to make too many turns. So it gets a very efficient extraction up through the tube into your vacuum system and then out and exhaust or evacuation to your cleaning machine. The jetting. Now these tools, when you get them, they actually come with multiple jets. If you didn't realize that, when you do get your new Evolution wands, they actually come with a little worksheet that talks to you about how they're put together and how to service them and go through the valve and take care of it properly and some of the basics. But they also come with multiple jets. They have jetting that is available for these for both your portable, if you're running on a portable extractor, or if you're running on a truck mount. So make sure you've got the right jet tip size that's spraying the best pattern for the right water flow that you're looking to accomplish with your machine. But the water is going to spray out of here, shear towards the vacuum lip, and then recover back up into the system. We're going to turn the water on, turn our valve. We have an end of the hose valve on here. Turn the valve on. Check our water for area for cleaning, and then start our extraction process. Now, a lot of different techniques to cleaning and a lot of different ways that guys will run their wands. Depends on how wet of a process you're wanting to leave behind ultimately. One of my good friends, Adam Hale, I don't know if Adam's in here hanging out with us today, but Adam's, he's got his Adam Hale stroke that we talk about. And his cleaning stroke is a wet back stroke, followed by a dry forward stroke. Very efficient because it sprays water, recovers it back up into the head, and then does a dry stroke right afterwards as he's cleaning. And then he'll move over to the next stroke and pull the wand as he's dragging backwards, doing his extraction, and then go forward with a dry stroke. So one wet, one dry. Now, if he had a really dirty carpet, he might do a dry, wet, or multiple passes and what we might call a chop stroke over an area, followed by multiple recovery steps of dry strokes to pick up that moisture. Now, for this heavy soil carpet, with the amount of pre-spray I put down and the amount of scrubbing that we did to put it in here, I'm going to go ahead with a 2 wet, 2 dry stroke. Watch this. Just step back, put the angle of the camera down. Put the camera down. Thank you. Angle it down to the wand. So I'm going to do a wet forward, wet back, release the wand at the end of the stroke, pull back a little bit, move over. Forward wet, forward back, or back wet, release the wand, and drag it back a little bit. Move over. Forward wet, back wet. Forward wet, back wet. It's a heavily soiled carpet with lots of pre-spray. So my forward wet stroke is putting down a good amount of moisture to pre-suspend. My back stroke is giving me a good extraction technique coming back across. And then after I go forward and back over an area, usually traversing the entire room across, then I'll go back, passing my stop point, and then crossing over at about a 50% overlap of each of my strokes going back and forth. And then go across to do my recovery. And if I still have some staining or heavy soiled areas like right here, a little chop stroke, see if I can power flush some of that road grime off from my van dripping. And certainly just some steam and good flow got that. Now, I'm at a bit more mysterious spot here. I've got a bunch of rust, maybe from a filing cabinet, maybe from another area, furniture that was left behind with a metal tab or something that was moved and not blocked or just left there from a flood or other previous damages, and we might need to treat that. So we generally will clean the whole area of the room. I'll turn around this way and finish this side of the stroke to where I had pre-sprayed. And man, this wand is a lot more work than that rotary extractor. I think I'm going to step up and do restorative cleaning here sooner than later, but we'll rinse out what I put down. Again, wet forward, wet back, wet forward, wet back, wet forward, wet back. And at the end of my backstroke, I release the wand trigger, drag it a little bit to pick up any water in that overflow. Move forward, side over, half pass, forward wet, back wet, release. Forward wet, back wet, release. And then I'll go back over doing slow water pickup strokes to pick up any excess moisture if possible, because the #1 complaint from carpet cleaners is wet carpet. Extra dry strokes, extra movement of those back out again will make a big difference. Yeah, just turn that off. All right, so now we've done our heavier stain treat, our heavier soil area. Let's just spend a minute or so looking at the rust problem. Over here, we've got our stain section and our stain area of the shop built up for us. And in this area, we have a few different challenges, but we also have the awesome HydroMaster spotting kit, an arsenal of products, which we'll talk about a little bit later when we get back into spotting. But for the moment, we're going to go after our current challenge problem, which is rust, with Rust Break 1. And Rust Break, great product for going after rust stains, which have traditionally stay in. Think about that. A spot is on the fiber. Spots are on it. Stains stay in. I think it was Jim Pemberton that brought that. I heard him say that once, and I've repeated it ever since. STA, stay in. Stains. Huh. Yeah, so you have to chemically go after stains to change them. And in this case, we're going to use some rust brake to work on this particular stain problem. The Hydromaster spotting kits come with little flip top bottles. So we'll put our little flip top on there, grab our bone spatula. We're already wearing protective gloves to protect our hands, and we'll go right down onto the spot area where we need to work. So we've got this rust line from a file cabinet, from something, well, it's obviously this kind of copperish color that's there. And we can, on this particular product, we're going to apply it directly to the rust area and then lightly work it in with our bone spatula. And you can see the rust is changing and disappearing as I've suspended it. That detergent base right there. I'm just going to work this small area and let that sit there to counteract that rust stain. Oh yeah, it's disappearing. It was that dark copper, and you can see that now we've almost eliminated it, giving a little bit of time. Now I've worked it in with a bone spatula, another technique of agitation, because we don't want to scrub yarns in general process, is to use a tamping brush. Your spotting kit will come with a tamping brush. And your tamping brush, you can tamp right through the towel so you don't contaminate it. And you can tamp and agitate by working that solution in with a mechanical bouncing action. That mechanical action is much more efficient than spreading it about. And you can see that that stain is definitely disappearing. Now, once you've worked the area, one of the things we want to be conscious about when we're dealing with any rust remover is that once we've treated and we've removed the rust stain and done what the chemistry is designed to do to get that all disappeared, then we want to make sure and not leave this stain treatment behind. This is a strong enough acid that could be, harmful to somebody's skin. So we wouldn't want to leave that residue on the carpeted area. So in this case, what we want to do is rinse and flush that out, and we'll use our extraction wand for that. And once we've rinsed, now we've used an acidic rinse as well as an acidic product. So we definitely want to bring in an alkaline Spotmaster General Spotter, and we can neutralize that acidity from the initial treatment. You could also use your traffic lane cleaner. To be able to go after that spot. Now, rinse that out and continue that process along the entire rusty stain that you might need to recover.